Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to convert our code to be compliant with class structure. Actually, we have seen classes before when we learn about Python, but we have never used it. Okay? And this is going to be a big project. It will have so different methods, it will have different kind of variables, different kind of structures. So it is good practice to have this structured within a class. And before we go on and add some more features to our code, actually it's a better way to comprehend what's going on in our code and have it on a class structure. Of course, we could have done this without classes at all. We can only use these methods or functions. But it is better to use classes in order to understand Python more in depth. So I'm going to convert this listener first, then my backdoor as well. So I'm going to say class my listener or listener, okay? And this will be my listener class, and I'm going to do the Windows backdoor as well. So after you say class socket listener or my listener or listener, it doesn't matter. What you have to do first is to create your init method. Remember the special method, init method? It initializes the instance. So whatever you write within the init method will happen when you create an instance of that class. So let me first do that. So df underscore underscore init, okay, underscore underscore, and if you open parentheses, it will add the self itself. You have to use the self in classes, remember? And then after with a colon, you can just hit enter. And what do we want to happen when we initiate an instance of that class? We want to create a listener and connect to the victim machine, right? Start listening connections from victim machine. So we're going to do this my listener socket, my listener.setsock, my listener.bind, and everything under init. So choose all of them and hit tab 2 times. If you just cut everything and paste under here, it will do the same thing. And beware of the indentation. You have to do it 2 times. So it has to be under def init methods. Okay? And after that, I will just give IP and port as an input to my init method, and I will just delete this IP address and give IP in here, and delete this 8080 port address and give the port as an input in here as well. So when we create an instance of this class, we will specify the IP and the port of this instance. So aside from that, I don't have to do anything right now, but of course we have to make this into a method or something, because we want this to be inside of the class as well. So now my class consists only this init method. If I get this, okay, this while true, and hit tab, it will be under my class as well. But now, as you can see, it says that my connection is not defined. So we have to say self.myConnection in here in order to associate this and this my connection with my instances connection. Okay, so you have to say self.myConnection for each time my connection occurs in the code. And of course we have to wrap this inside of a function in order to just associate with the self again. So let me say def start listener, for example, and it will just add the self in here. If I select all of this and hit tab, it will be under my start listener. Then now it's associated with my instance. As you can see, it says self, and if you click on my connection, now it highlights every my connection variable in here, and if you click on self, it highlights self, and now it's all working. So we are getting the input from user, we are sending that input, we are getting the output, and we are printing the output. So if we look at the code in our Windows machine, we have defined command execution to be a separate function, right? And this is a good practice actually. Let's do that in here as well. So I'm going to create a method here, okay, the command execution again with self this time, because this is not a function, it's a method. We are inside of a class right now, and I'm going to do this thing, okay, under command execution line. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to pass everything in here. So it will just execute this command, and it will return self.myconnection.receive. So now I can just make this equal to command output below here. So now I can use command execution anytime I want. All I have to do is just give the input of command input in here, and this will be like command execution self dot command execution here, and give the output of command input. And this will return self.myconnection.receive. This will return the output that is gotten from Windows machine. So I can say this is actually the command output itself again. So I'm doing the same thing, but now I'm doing it in a different method. So I can use this command execution method anytime I want. So let me save this all and test this, because we have changed a lot. And of course, we have to create this instance down here. Of course, we can do it in another class as well, but let's not get too complicated. I'm just gonna create an instance in here, and I'm going to say my socket listener, okay, and this will be socket listener class, socket listener. If I open the parentheses, it will ask me for an IP address and a port address. So the IP is 10.02.15 and the port is 8080. Once I do that, it will init this instance, and all I have to say my socket listener dot start listener, and then it will start listening for a connection. So let me clear the screen and rerun my code, and let me go back. As you can see, it says listening right now, so it's kind of working. And let's go back to Windows. We didn't change anything in here, so let me run my backdoor and see if we got the connection. Yes, we got the connection. Let me test this with dir. Yeah, we got the dir. So let me do ipconfig. Yes, we got the ipconfig again. So now let's stop here, and within the next lecture we're going to do the same thing for my backdoor as well.